What's up, family? I didn't know people was in here. Oh, it's Jackie. Brother named Mr. Dizzy. Brother Mansour hooks the brother up with his music. Shouts out to Brother Mansour. You know, lines are open. Of course, y'all know 614. Call-in lines. Let's just put it. Call-in lines. Open at 614-556-4535. Family, I'm up late. We're doing it late. I had to go to the store. My baby busted her head, so I had to go and get some Band-Aids. You know, that's a Moscow Mule type of kind of shizzle going on over there with the copper G. That's right, got the chop. You know, we moving it up. We drinking like kings of old. Fuck the Moscow. You know, this how we used to drink back in the day, out of copper. And it's been sitting in copper all day. See that? You look at that. All right, family. First off, I want to welcome you to the congregation of the mighty. This is the place where your hustle builds muscle. This is the Giami Journey Media. Anime. Let's try that again. This is Giami Journey Media. From here, anime. From here. Okay. You fell off tonight. Alright. This is a Heart of a Simba production. And we are on Tribal Quotes. We strive to blow up your old paradigms. Out there that want to join the conversation, we are talking. We are at 614-556-4535. I am going to read the quotes that we will be hitting on tonight. I have my speaker up and it's charged. and it is ready for us to go and engage in this conversation. Lines are open at 614-556-4535. And here we go. Pulling from Giammi Journey Workbook, Tribal Quotes, compiled by Hatem Giammi. I like how my name is all big on the title like that. We on day 68. We probably skipped day 67. We didn't complete that one. But we discussed it. So here we go. Proverbs of the day. My first time seeing them. Well, no. I've seen them before because we done been through this book maybe once, possibly twice. But we at least been through this book once, and we've been through the African Openness to the Tree of Life once at least on this show. So we've been doing this, and we've been pretty consistent. Day 68. Wisdom ceases to be wisdom when it becomes too proud to weep, too grave to laugh, and too selfish to seek others than itself. That's Khalil Gibran. If you never read one of his books, man, an excellent poet and writer. If you kick the person in the pants responsible for most of your trouble, you wouldn't sit for a month. Theodore Roosevelt. If you could kick the person in the pants responsible for most of your troubles, you wouldn't sit for a month. Theodore Roosevelt. Last but not least, many days of laughter are wiped away by one moment of mourning. That's from Uganda. Many days of laughter are wiped away by one moment of mourning. All right, so we got those out. Y'all gonna think about them for a second while I go and do the announcements. Of course, y'all know we got the G&J Mall popping off, the last Kuumba of the month. This will be on the 27th. April the 27th. It's coming down. It's less than a day and a half away. Maybe 2 days away. Let's just say that. We got tomorrow. We got the next day, which is the market day. And we will be gathering, and the community is welcome to come out and to partake and to support the vendors in our community. We're trying to make this a monthly meeting and gathering place for the family. Come on out, enjoy yourself, meet other people that maybe think like you or think a little bit different, and challenge yourself, or find people you might agree with. You know what I'm saying? We got plenty of room, plenty of discussion space. You know what I'm saying? Some people, we got some workshops popping off. We don't have a movie going this time, so Brother Hatem will be able to come around and make sure everybody is straight, get everybody up on the Instagram for the newsletter. And once again, since Sister Jackie is in the house, I want to thank her for a beautiful article. If you didn't have a chance to see that one, I might post it up again up on the next newsletter as a standing article, because it was dope, right? So now we got that out the way. So after this festival, after this mall, we will be having the Malcolm X Revolutionary Leader Festival. And it will be going down May 25th. Vendors, get your space as soon as possible. You know what I'm saying? I didn't want to throw it on you too early. I want to throw it on you right at the right time, right after this marketplace. You need to go on and get your space. I think vendor booths for regular vendors is like $25. Come on out and help us celebrate Malcolm X and other revolutionary leaders throughout the time. And you gonna have a good time, because it has been confirmed Eddie Baird is coming out with his saxophone, and Mark Lomax is coming out with his drums, and they're gonna put on a show for us. And then Mark Lomax is our keynote speaker, and he's gonna be talking about revolutionaries and music, or revolution and the music. And I don't know how he's going to do that, but however he's going to do it, we're going to be receptive to it, and we're going to be doing our thing. Brother Tykees is going to be presenting, and I'm looking forward to that, because he keeps on saying, you don't have faith in me, Brother Hatem. I do have faith in all my young people, because I'm quite sure that when Cleve see you get up there and do something, Cleve going to want to try to do something too. But it can't be last minute. I know you preparing, so we ain't going to let Cleve get up there and do no last minute shit, right? All right, so let me see. Sister Jackie. It's just me. It look like it's just you and me, right? I don't know what's going on. I sent out the black signal, and I guess people just gave up on me because I'm running late. The brother run late just a little bit. The name of that song that you was listening to is Hotep, and it is by Mr. Deity. Sister Jackie, if you want it, got you. You know. So here we go. So, Sister Jackie, which one you want to start with? Because it look like it's gonna be me and you, and you know we could do a quick show, get it over and done with, and we have made it past 68 times of doing this. Cool. What number? What number? What number? 1, 2, or 3? What you want me to start with? Oh, and while we're waiting for Miss Jackie to type in a number, now, first off, family, Brother Quasi got a show called I Wonder, right? I Wonder Radio. I want y'all to check that out every Imani at 6 p.m. I can't say the day. Those that know the day, you can post up the day for Imani. That's the last day of the week for some, and it's the first day of the week for others. I guess that's a riddle, right? 6 p.m. And then Lady J just recently started a show. I don't know what she's going to title the show, but I'm going to have to corral her in and get her to come up with a title for the show. I won't be able to listen because she be trying to she know how to push my buttons. Lady J know how to push my buttons. So I won't necessarily be listening to her show all the time because she see me on there and she'll go off and say some shit that just have me. No, it's Kahil Gibran, Gibran. So we got that going on, and we have another show in the works. I don't know if the sister want me to say her name, so I won't say her name, but we're going to have another show. We're going to have a third show popping off. And then also make sure that if you have young people, you know what I'm saying, about between the ages of, let's say, 5 and 10, Miss Gina has her little show that's popping off. Well, it ain't Miss Gina's no more. It's the Giami Girl. Sasha and Gina have their show popping off. And we just made a trip to Detroit. A quick trip. So don't get on here tripping, Jackie. A quick trip through Detroit. I had a busload of kids, and so I couldn't go nowhere. So all my Detroit family, you know, I told y'all I was coming. Nobody said nothing until I got into the city and shit. You know what I'm saying? I got a busload of kids. I need to let you know my itinerary so you know where to meet me because I'm riding on a bus. I just want to stress that. And because we stopped at the Motown Museum. And so Gina get out and start filming her video and be like, we stopped at a motel. She didn't have any idea of what Motown was. You know what I'm saying? Because, I didn't really brief her on the history because she would have been a little bit more excited if she'd have known that's where Michael Jackson started off. But she like, we at the motel? I said, no, baby, we at Motown. Motown. Okay? So, all right. So here we go. Sister Jackie put up number 1. Wisdom ceases to be wisdom when it becomes too proud to weep, too grave to laugh, and too selfish to seek other than itself. All right. So wisdom ceases to be wisdom. So wisdom, like everything else, wisdom has its opposite, right? And wisdom ceases, or wisdom stops being wisdom. Because we all ran into those very intelligent individuals that become so intelligent, but that they are detached from reality. Now, and this gives me something to go into because I've been thinking about this, man. And it's like scholars, when I was younger, they had what just happened. All right. I don't know what just happened. But Sister Jack said that's that motherfucker that always walk around trying to belittle folks with their knowledge rather than feed someone with it. Oh wow, Jackie. But damn, if you knew the answer to the folk tale, to the quote, why did you have me do that? You know what I'm saying? What happened? The signal dropped. I don't know. I apologize. It just dropped. That never happened before. All right, so catch me on the other line. We talking, right? The number to call in is 614-556-4535. It just dropped on me all of a sudden. I don't know. No, I agree with you because we had a group when I was younger they called them the New Jack Scholars, and I came up during that era where we had the old scholars. All of them were moving into their 50s and they was getting older and they was getting used to that shit. And you had the New Jack Scholars, and these were some brilliant motherfuckers. Greg Carr was one of them, man. Oh my God, these motherfuckers was brilliant. Now, far as the study and the discipline of study that the New Jack Scholars were on, I wasn't on that. No. I needed to smoke me some weed. I was in love. Didn't have time for that. Yeah, he's at Howard now. But I never wanted to be associated with the New Jack Scholars in the way that they were put out there, because I always had an issue with scholars, because after going to all the conferences, because during that time, I started college in 87, 88, 88, 89, 90, 91. In between there, between 89 and 93, the whole Afrocentric form of thought was a powerful piece. But I started noticing as I started going to these conferences that the scholars had all of the answers, but had none of the work. Let me say that again. They had all of the answers, but none of the work. And I didn't want to be associated with a group that just theorized about what was going on and what was needed in our community. Because I felt that if it was true wisdom, right? If it was true wisdom, it would be active in the community. And then I started running to some of the older scholars who were in between. So you had the Dr. Benz and all those, and then up under them you had individuals like Nomo X, right? So you had the Dr. Benz and the John Henry Clarks, right? And then you had the community organizers who went from the soldier mode to, because as they start getting older, they start moving into it's time for the young people to move in and start doing stuff type elder that was leading the masses, and that was like the Nomo X's, right? And then right up under them came my generation, right? They called it New Jack, and I never liked that term New Jack any motherfucking way. I just liked the movie New Jack City, but the whole concept of the New Jack shit, I never liked that. And then when they threw the New Jack Scholar on there, I definitely didn't like that, because that's what they called all the young boys, and that was a way of dismissing. But right before us, there was another group of scholars that came in, and these motherfuckers was brilliant. But they didn't do shit but write. They didn't do shit but theorize. And I know some people can get mad because they might want to put themselves in that area, but I don't give a fuck, right? Because they would know so much, and they had so much knowledge, and some of that knowledge would spill over into wisdom, but they were doing absolutely nothing with it, right? And then you will also run into those motherfuckers that was in the movement that would be so stern and shit. And, they couldn't laugh or nothing like that. And, me and so my brothers would look at some of these niggas and be like, something wrong with him. Yes. That he was at, yep. Wasn't he there when we were trying to get the Black Center and all that? No. He wasn't involved with that, because now Jack is one of one of my sisters that was like when we was moving out, because we moved, we met in the towers on campus, and as we moved off into the community, we moved into the short north area around college, and then we expanded outside of that. So my whole piece was street work. You know what I'm saying? I had to be able to relate to the people, because sometimes you would come with so much knowledge, so much information that people wouldn't be able to stomach that shit. You know, you mean everything that I've been taught is a lie? Right? So, you know, that type of shit would shock people, because it's like you got to you know, when you run into a baby, you don't give a baby meat. You groom a baby, you grow a baby so that the baby can move from the soft food to the harder foods to being able to eat a whole plate by themselves. You don't just drop the goddamn meat and be like, eat, baby. And this is what some of these people was doing, right? And I you know, like I said, but then, like I said, so you had a group of brilliant scholars, and that's all they were. So I would go to these conferences, and I would see all these brilliant motherfuckers in one room and get frustrated, because after we left, the conference was it. This is, our work is done. Now I'm going back to Florida. Now I'm going back to Philadelphia. Now I'm going back to New York. Now I'm going, you know what I'm saying? And I hated that shit. So I never wanted to be equated with a scholar, because I never saw a scholar out here doing the shit that they was theorizing with. So rather than me just getting caught up in theory, I wanted to get caught up in the practical use of the information that they had, right? And transform myself as well as those that were around me. Because just me by myself was never just something that I want. You know what I'm saying? Just being by yourself and pulling things together wasn't healthy for me. Not for me. Now other people could do it. So now this proverb that we're working on says, wisdom ceases to be wisdom when it becomes too proud to weep. And we ran into motherfuckers where they would be, with their information, they would become, in a sense, too proud to weep, even too proud to share, too proud to break down what they knew to the level where people could understand them. No, they were so high up that you had to reach up to them, and they couldn't really affect anything going on in real life. See, because real life don't happen on campus. I understood after my second year Ohio State was a fucking laboratory. I have always viewed Ohio State and that surrounding area around Ohio State as a laboratory, because I was able to do a lot of different type of experiments with my own life and with situations and shit, and be able not to suffer full consequences for my fuck ups. College is about you being able to experiment, right? And some motherfuckers took college as life. Took the classroom as life. Now that shit wasn't life for me, right? Because I got people right, like we go 5 blocks to the south of this motherfucker, and we got motherfuckers out here strung out on crack, shooting each other. You know what I'm saying? This right here is a safe haven where I can experiment. This is a fucking laboratory where I could go and see what if this worked. No, okay, all right. It's in a confined environment. All right, safe. Then finally, oh shit, I got something right. And when I got it right, I was able to just move it out and just continue to build like I'm doing. Because the real work comes with, you know, because like I said, the wisdom is not isolated. Wisdom is something that you can use in life. What we have is motherfuckers masturbating with useless knowledge and useless theories about shit, right? They're exploring and checking out everybody's mistakes, not even realizing that they're using what I think they call a survivor's bias. You never hear You hear about, like, for example, you hear about the successful revolutions, and a motherfucker that is successful at something often only talks about the shit that they were successful at. They don't never really give you the shit that they was not successful at. And usually the ones that are recorded are the ones that are successful at something. And and what happens is that they believe that their success was a result of their efforts. Right? Because I want y'all to think about this. And we do this in our own lives. Wisdom, right? Check this out. When we're successful, we attribute it to our skills. In most cases, unless an individual is humble. When we fail, we attribute it to chance. Right? Y'all hear me? Y'all see the problem there? So when I was failing, it was an issue of chance. When I'm succeeding, it was an issue of my grit, my desire to succeed, and you can do that shit too. No, that's survivor's bias, motherfucker. You was lucky, right? You was lucky. So when we look at history, often what rises to the top is the individuals that were successful rather than the motherfuckers that really laid the foundation for them individuals that were successful to stand upon. You never get to understand the true wisdom of the failures that they went through. And through the failures is where you get the real wisdom, where you get the real learning. What we are being exposed to are a bunch of lucky motherfuckers. Period. Survivor's bias. Right? So with wisdom, wisdom ceases to be wisdom when it becomes too proud to weep. You know what I'm saying? Now, one of the things that I understood, I ain't gonna say I understood, one of the things that I learned in like Simba, right? Until it's coming from a young man perspective, because with the young ladies it's a little bit different. But until a young man feels safe with you, there will be no growth with them, with you, right? So the type of things that the young people will do with you to make sure they're safe is that they will challenge you, right? Because in them challenging you, they will see how you react to the challenge. And if you react wrong to the challenge that they present to you, they'll never trust you, right? Wisdom. I mean, I had to experience this. Knowledge, experience equals wisdom. So being able to provide them with a place where they're safe, they know they're going to get checked. They're safe though. They know that they're safe. They know that you're not going to hurt them. They know that you won't really want to hurt them, although you may have to correct. And sometimes in some physical ways, correct some of the shit that they're doing, but they know that you're not trying to hurt them, right? They feel safe enough to speak with you. And then in that speaking, when you really getting to know them or getting to know the group that they're with and y'all all sharing, the tears start to flow, right? Wisdom has to be able to bring out that vulnerability, bring out those tears. I'm sorry. Sister Jackie said that has always been our problem. We have generations of lost information that we could have fed off of. Our children didn't need a beating; they needed a lesson, a story. Now they needed a beating too, but the story, because oftentimes what happened? What the fuck is that beeping like that? Oftentimes with the beating, right? We would leave the story out. We leave a lesson out. Oh, I know what it is. Often with the beating, we would leave a lesson out. And our young people, they need that lesson. You understand what I'm saying? They need the story. See, because oftentimes what happens is that we isolate, we separate the discipline and the lesson rather than understanding that the lesson. Why you beeping all loud? That the lesson needed to come with the... All right, Speaker, what's going on is that obviously Facebook has been tripping on me for the last couple of days. You know what I'm saying? I don't understand. So now we got 3 tribal quotes up. That's some bullshit. All right, the lines are open. 614-556-4535. And I don't know what's going on, but this damn thing keeps dropping on me. It keeps dropping on me. All right. So now back to Jackie's comment. She said that has always been our problem. We have generations lost. We have now, and part of that piece is in our wisdom, or in our, we have confused knowledge with true wisdom, right? So you go to college and come back to your grandparents and think that you know more than them. You have more knowledge than they have, but you don't have more wisdom. We started confusing knowledge with wisdom, right? See, because wisdom comes with suffering, comes with sorrow and understanding that you're going to have to shed those tears. You understand what I'm saying? In order to get that wisdom, you have to shed the tears. You have to take the knowledge that you have and you have to apply the shit. You can't just theorize about it. So we got a bunch of motherfuckers that sound wise, but in all actuality, they don't have wisdom because they have not experienced what the fuck they talking about. So what happens is we send individuals to college and they get knowledge, and all of a sudden they come out and we expect them to be leaders. But they can't lead because they have never experienced the knowledge that they have. They have never seen the knowledge that they have working. And what they are presenting to us is information that is based on survival. What did I call it? Survival bias. But Sister Jackie said that the story that I'm learning in part of my life will not have to be accompanied with a beating. The story of our people is so horrific, and if a child would have heard about their grandfather being quartered in front of a sea of white folks and they loved his demise, they would have known how to guard themselves without it being a beating to them, to listen to them rather than ourselves, our elders. Now, and then also we got to realize too, Jackie, with that, a lot of our elders started misconstruing knowledge for wisdom, right? My grandmother used to just say little slick shit, and you know what I'm saying? It would be cold blooded, and I wouldn't catch that shit until like 15 years later. You know, I'm sitting up here like, God damn. You know what I'm saying? She, you know, and it's like you wouldn't even, because of the information knowledge I had, I wasn't able to recognize the wisdom that my grandmother was presenting to me. Like, you know, my grandmother would be able to sit down and wouldn't, you know, she wasn't moving a lot by the time I was graduating from college and when I was coming from Columbus to visit. She would sit out in the living room and be able to hear somebody pull up in the driveway and know who's getting out the car and whether they was coming by themselves or whether they had more than, or whether they had a visitor with them. Shit used to blow my motherfucking mind, right? Because I noticed it, but then I started talking with some of my cousins, and it was like they would say the same shit, and I'd be like, well, I thought she was just lucky. No, this wisdom shit is some real shit. And that came about by her experience in life, her being open to life and being able to cry, as Cahill says. Wisdom ceases to be wisdom when it becomes too proud to weep. You know what I'm saying? Oftentimes we are surrounded by individuals that are so proud of what they have learned, or even some of the shit that they have stumbled on and accomplished, that they can't look at the realities and open themselves up so that they could feel some of the pain. Wisdom requires us to be able to feel pain and be able to release that pain. And often the ways we release this emotional pain is through tears. Right? You know what I'm saying? Especially with the way they train the boys, y'all not supposed to cry. But like I was saying, like at Symbol, one of the things that I learned is that they had to be able to trust you, and they had to know they would be able to cry in front of you, and that you even could cry with them before any progress could be made in their growth. That's because grandmother knew that the most important lesson of the Bible, knowledge is nothing without the ability to process the information into wisdom. That's because your grandmother knew that most important lesson of the Bible. Wisdom is the heart of the Bible, and those that understand it realize that it will take a lifetime to realize the information in the Bible. Right? So, yeah, she applied herself to that. But it takes a lifetime to understand the wisdom of just a goddamn tree. You understand what I'm saying? I mean, it's like it's not just confined to the Bible. God's handiwork, God's writing is everywhere. And wisdom is being able to read that writing and being open and receptive to the messages. You understand what I'm saying? That's what it's about. And oftentimes what these institutions do to us, and I want to be clear about this, what these institutions do to us is that they block us from being able to have access to wisdom because we get filled up with so much knowledge, so much so much information that we are not receptive when we come into the presence of wisdom. Right? Wisdom means being open and being able to accept the bruises and the suffering that comes with attaining it. But most important lesson in the Bible is that tree. And that lesson is all information in its season. So, you the one, you saying so keep on writing. Goddamn it, you teaching. And it also says, becomes too proud to weep, too grave to laugh, and too selfish to seek other than itself. Right? I mean, because think about this. What he's describing is the cycle that a lot of us are caught up in, to where, you know what I'm saying, we become what? Let's go through it again. We become too proud. We too proud. See, and weeping in with that pride, because I want you to think about this. Weeping in that pride means that sometimes wisdom wisdom as a master teacher requires you to admit when you're wrong. See, when you're proud, you can't really admit that you're wrong, because admitting that you're wrong means that you may have to apologize and means that you may have to turn your mirror away or turn the looking glass from other people to yourself. And that could be a very painful process, but I'm too proud for that. I'm not going to do that shit. I'm not going to open myself to being ridiculed. I'm not going to open myself to being to being wrong. Wisdom requires us to be able to be like, shit, I was wrong about that. I apologize. And in some instances, it requires us to weep. Too grave to laugh. We done ran into them. You know what I'm saying? I remember early in my interaction with the movement, as far as black folks, as far as us becoming conscious, you ran into that motherfucker that never laughed. Motherfucker was always tense. And I said, I'll never be that motherfucker right there. You know what I'm saying? He's so serious, too proud, won't admit that he wrong or she's wrong, and these motherfuckers look like they don't do nothing. And it's almost like they gonna blow a gasket. And unfortunately, I was right in several, I'm like, dang, that's not healthy, right? Read faster, motherfucker. Oh, stop cussing at me. Your grandmother knew to spoon feed you the lessons and knew that you would need the 15 years to get it. That is why information in the Bible is represented by the tree. You are not ready for it until it is ready for you. And if you attain at any other time rather than when you are supposed to have it, will lead you into a state of affairs that could cause you great harm. God was so adamant about this lesson that he forced them from the garden where they were getting the information long before they should have had it. Jackie, stop it. Nah, I ain't on that. No. No. Scorpio, no. I'm not going for that. You're going to have to come with another. You're going to have to come with another verse on that one because I'm not on that one. See, this is why in our traditional system, family, pay attention. This is why in our traditional system we had a rites of passage. And there were several phases. See, what happened for us with this whole rites of passage shit is that we thought that it was about bringing teenagers to adulthood. But what we lost the fact of is that rites of passage was a lifelong process and a part of the culture that will take you from childhood to adulthood, and from adulthood to nation building, and from nation building to elder state. There was steps in between that, and each one of those you would be able to go through the same lessons, but get a different message. Our ancestors' wisdom was very simple and very layered. So I could tell you the story of Anansi as a child, and it would just be cute. But then I would tell you the story of Anansi after initiation into you being a teenager, and it would inform you about what you was going to go through in this phase of your life. And then I would give you the same story of Anansi in another phase of your life, and you'd be like, God damn, I didn't even see that shit. Then as an elder, you will be able to be given the story of Anansi or reflect on the story of Anansi while you're giving it to young people and get a whole nother piece. Our stories are layered. All of our stories. When you listen to folk tales for grown folks, understand that we're doing some layered shit. Because if you are still getting the same information from the story 5 years from now that you got when I first read it to you, you're not growing. She got it. She coming back. Look at our society and the internet. Spiritual teachers prophesied this long ago that it was a portal to hell. Rites of passage is all about information and growth. It's time. They are the markers for our growth and what is to be expected. All right, so wisdom ceases to be wisdom when it becomes too proud to weep. Family, watch the pride. Pride proceeds to fall. And since Jackie's on the Bible thing right now, remember in the Bible they say pride proceeds to fall. Pride is one of the things. Pride is our ego stepping in the way of our communication with God. Wisdom is when we are able to kind of diminish me and increase we. You understand what I'm saying? But when I allow my ego, because like when you look at some of the scholars and some individuals, a lot of information that think they the wisest motherfucker on this planet, they be arrogant as fuck, right? And when you see that, you need to kind of step back. You know what I'm saying? And just really observe them, because now if it's true wisdom, you will see it active in their life and active around them. You understand? Right? And you will see the results of wisdom. What is the results of wisdom? Right? It's not some of the shit that's going on with some of these motherfuckers that's claiming that they wise. I'm just telling you that. Wisdom ceases to be wisdom when it becomes too proud to weep, too grave to laugh, and too selfish to seek others other than itself. Family, please understand that wisdom is not about you. Yeah, it's about learning you. But when you really start exploring wisdom, you start understanding that you are one with all of this. So it's not really about you. It's about you being able to kind of, in a sense, understand this thing's place in all of this. Right? As I tell you all the time, my older brother, Bino Garcia Sr., told me, he said, to our Creator, we are no higher than a blade of grass and no lower than its roots. Connection to all things. And being able to understand that at the same time, I am the greatest of creation. I am a high part of creation, but at the same time, I am lower than the roots of grass. That divine paradox. So I'm able to glean from that majesty and deal with that humbleness and deal with where I really fit in the total scheme of things. Jack writes, ego says, don't stand there, say something. Wisdom says, don't just say something, stand there. For those that don't know, Jack is an excellent writer. I ain't gonna, because she'll sit up here and shut me up with a couple of sentences. I won't have, but she don't know that I just won't read her shit if she starts beating me up, Like I said, wisdom is too proud to weep. What did it say? Wisdom ceases to be wisdom when it becomes too proud to weep. Just won't be weeping at that time, Jackie. All right, family, so here we go. Lines are open, 614-556-4535. Y'all need to call in. The brothers, I'm drinking all this water, and my little kidneys won't hold it like it used to. So we're going to have to move to another proverb so that we can try to get through all these. So I am going to go to number 2. If you could kick the person in the pants responsible for most of your troubles, you wouldn't sit for a month. Now, before I even deal with that, family, I want y'all to realize that these discussions are ongoing discussions, right? You could get the book. You could go on and if you don't have the money to get the book, I could send you the book over. I own the book, copyright and all that is mine. So I get you the book. You go and copy and paste this on your board, on your timeline, or you could do it in Geometry Journey, and we can have discussions around this stuff. I'm not doing this shit just so that I can have an hour show and take up an hour of your time. I'm trying to get a continuous discussion around proverbs and stories from our ancestors that we can be discussing and extracting and doing what's called wisdom mining. Because please understand, wisdom mining is hard work. You're going to get dirty. You're going to get your feelings hurt sometime because you reading some of these proverbs and some of them be slapping you in the face. Some of these stories about the ass or the lion doing some dumb shit. It's you. And you have to face that shit. So the conversation don't stop with the show. We can have a continuous conversation on the timeline as well. See, because you might go to sleep and wake up with a whole different perspective on the story, and that perspective, and this is where that wisdom, that piece about the wisdom, and too selfish to seek other than itself. Sometimes the insight you get is not for you. We are a tribe. The insights that you get may not be for you. This is why we, in a sense, we're blessed with this internet, so Jack could wake up and be like, well, damn, I thought about something with that proverb. I don't know how it fits in my life, but when she shares it and write it down on the timeline or do a little tape of her voice or a video response and post it on the timeline, it reaches who it needs to reach. Many of us are suffering and starving because the wisdom that we need, your selfish ass is sitting there at home sitting on it rather than sharing it. It's not about you. And by you sharing that information, you may get something from somebody else that you didn't even know that might be for you and might be the missing piece to bring your whole life in line. But because a lot of us get caught up in ourselves and don't want to take the chance and possibly get hurt so that we can cry a little bit and deal with our ego and tame that motherfucker, we do not get introduced to wisdom. I want y'all to understand, when we talk about rites of passage, I want y'all, family, y'all have to understand rites of passage wasn't just about you having a birthday cake and motherfuckers coming to celebrate you. No, there was pain and suffering with that shit. Because you had to understand, to be an adult, you had to take the good with the bad. You had to be, it brings you into a state of maturity where you will be able to suffer. Suffering takes practice. And a lot of cultures make sure that the adults that are in a society know about suffering. Because you're going to suffer when you're nation building. You're going to suffer when you're nation maintaining. And you're going to suffer when you're defending your nation or defending your tribe or defending your family. You're going to suffer. And some of us are so deep with it, so connected with it, that not only when we suffer, we feel other people suffering around us. Jackie said, we better understand that community, that connection, that selflessness, because that's where God resides. We are constantly building the force of nature. We are building the God between us and more. That connectivity falls apart the more we decrease our strength, our presence. Hold on. We are constantly building the force of nature. We are building the God between us, and the more that connectivity falls apart, the more we decrease our strength, our presence. We don't realize our power here, but I better stop because folks don't like that. Wow, that was huge. Suffering takes practice. Listen, I mean, and where I learned that from, and I constantly tell a story, because this was a pivotal moment in my life. My elder Gaylord blessed me and sent me to, well, let me put it this way. I was sitting with my brother, with Chief Albino, this is before he became a chief. And he said, bro, you ready? And he invited me to the Sundance. And he told Gaylord, and I told Gaylord. And when the Sundance came around, Gaylord all of a sudden called me, be like, yo, Simba going down, dog, and, blah, blah, blah. I'm going to send you to New Mexico to hook up with Albino. I said, whoa, yeah, you went to the Sundance. Wow, for real? Yeah. Send me the ticket, send me straight to New Mexico. We drove from New Mexico to South Dakota. South Dakota, I saw people suffering, practicing suffering on purpose. And it really hit me when I got up early in the morning to go to the early morning sweat. And I got into the wrong tent. I went into the tent with the Hyokas, which is basically they call them the sacred clowns. So they do everything backwards and shit. So I ended up in the tent with the Hyokas while they were sweating and shit. And I'm like, this is some strange shit going on. You know what I'm saying? And we sweating and like, wait a minute. I come from the left? What the fuck? You know what I'm saying? So, but one of the brothers that was in there was talking to the elder, and he said, "Elder, I want to drag." He gave him a number of buffalo heads, because what they would do is they would cut their flesh, and through the flesh they would put cords that they would tie to a buffalo head. This is after the hanging and the tearing and all this shit, and they would drag buffalo heads. And he said, I want to suffer for the world, and I want to suffer for that little girl that's in a wheelchair. I said, what? I'm listening to this shit. I want to pray for her. And I was like, damn. You know what I'm saying? And then you start looking at everything that was going on, and they like, we're suffering for the world, and because if we don't suffer, the world ends. So we have to choose to suffer. Somebody has to do it. So they would structure the suffering around their own spiritual development and around their growth, rather than dodging suffering like a lot of us. in these so-called advanced religions and spiritual systems. These individuals take on the suffering of the world. Now, this is the very thing that they talk about in the Bible with Jesus. Jesus took on the suffering of the world and was crucified. And I was watching over 100 motherfuckers being crucified during the Sundance. And I'm sitting up here like, wow, this is some deep shit. So I stood in the middle of the circle, and as they was dancing, and it's like when I realized what was going on around me, I couldn't do nothing but cry. I'm like, God damn, this is, or better yet, God bless me, because this is some deep shit. We need something like this in our community, where people, in a sense, will suffer for the community in front of the community. Not just suffering because they broke, because a lot of these people was broke. They came from all over the country, drove from California. We drove from New Mexico to the place and built a place where we could stay there, and people was coming from Canada, people was coming from California, people was coming from Tennessee. I mean, people coming from all corners of the United States, going to South Dakota to set up this village so that they could suffer for their people and the world. Deep. Deep. I want y'all to think about that shit. It's like, and I was like, oh my God. And I'm standing in the center of the circle and I'm watching what's going on. And I saw the dude that said that he wanted to pray for this little girl pulling. And I don't know if y'all know how big a buffalo head. I can't put it in the picture. I can't put my arms in. A buffalo head as big as, I'm talking about with the horns, a buffalo skull. And he got maybe 12 of them connected to his body, and he's pulling them as they pull at his skin, and he's praying for himself to make it through. He's praying for the little girl. He's praying for the world. He's praying for the brothers and sisters that trusted him with their problems, and he's praying for them. And you can see the beauty, and you can see the tears of other people that was in support of him. It was, family, listen to me. This is one of the reasons why I'm in love. I love the ritual process, and I love the ceremonies more than I love the classroom. See, because in the classroom, I read about the sun dance. I read about the rituals. But because of the elders that I hooked up with, they allowed me to go and experience where I could really feel it, and in some ways partake in it myself. She says, Jackie says that suffering is that reconnection needed. She posted up a link, so check out the link. I love Richard too. It helps you understand. Yeah, exactly. And when it's done right, with the right intentions and the right people, it's like being in a whole nother place. She said, growing up in Catholicism was my first experience. I almost said it wrong. I didn't know you was a Catholic. Hail Mary, full of grace. Yeah, I didn't know that. Did I do it right? Because I understand some go from left to right, others go from right to left. I don't know. But anyway, salute to my sister Jackie. You know what I'm saying? We got to suffer when we was sitting in the house, broken shit. You know what I'm saying? Got to suffer on campus. You know what I'm saying? And to see people structuring that. And they would say the Sundance was the vacation. The real suffering came after they left the Sundance. That shit flipped my whole perception. Right? So listen, I'm doing this because I know I'm going to suffer in my life. This right here is my vacation. That out there, outside of this, see, because we built a village. See, understand this. I don't remember how many days I was there, but we built a village. And when we came, there was nothing. While we was there, we built a village of hundreds of people. And nobody was hungry in that village. Nobody went without in that village. People was exchanging gifts during that whole time. Right? When we left, it was empty. It's almost like it was magical. You know what I'm saying? And it's like, that's the type of stuff when I be going camping, that's the type of feeling that I want to create for our young people, because I want them to feel that longing and the loss, because I long to go to the Sundance, but you know, the situations that I be in don't allow me the freedom as that point in time in my life did. And if I can't go to the Sundance, I need to be able to create something like that for us. Right? She said, yes, I pray for us then and now. But we lived in a community and we were all good and we were all safe. My mother thought we were crazy when she saw my room in the house. But we played music, played pool, and the brothers kept me safe. I love black men. Ohio State was a major part of how my love was built more for black men. I am completely detached from this story they tell on the Idiot Box. Hey, I'm just, like I said, family, we created something. We created a vibe for ourselves that kept us safe. And then not only kept us safe, but it allowed us to we took over spaces when we moved into that shit as a group. You know what I'm saying? Because some of the shit that, some of the shit I be hearing about happening now, I just don't believe it. And then sometimes I have to think back and be like, am I fantasizing about some of the shit that we was able to truly, we know for a fact, Jack, that our ancestors, something was watching out for us. Because some of the shit that we got away with was just totally impossible. Like, I still don't understand how we got as many people in Ron's car as we could, and how that car kept running. You know what I'm saying? Shit just, you know what I'm saying? And doing the shit and getting away. We were protected. So, but there is a way that they could know about community, because we could set up because we was involved in that type of shit. We could set that type of stuff up. It's us. We the elders. We're moving into the elder phase of our life, so we have to be able to set up the spaces where our young people can experience what we experienced without having to go through what we went through. Because realize this. All rites of passage are based on the heroes and the heroines in that culture. Right? And when the heroes and the heroines return and they tell the people the stories about where they went, the people or that hero and heroine would set up a system in which individuals can experience what that individual went through without directly going through it. That's all the rites of passage is. Right? A lot of our young people miss adventure. They don't get adventures no more. We keep them so goddamn safe that they don't get no adventures no more. So that allows a motherfucker to honestly think outside of reality. She said, hey, don't talk about Sylvester. Piled on top of each other. It was crazy. But anyway, If you could kick the person in the pants responsible for most of your trouble, you wouldn't sit for a month. So basically what he's saying, the person that causes the most issues for you is you. The person that causes the most issue for us is ourselves. But oftentimes we look for scapegoats because it makes us feel better to be able to blame somebody else. I want y'all to think about that shit. Blaming somebody else and not taking personal responsibility, it makes you feel good, but in the long run, it stunts you from growing. So when we really want to look at some of the shit that's going on in our lives, we really need to look at ourselves. Now, I know some of y'all going to be like, but how, brother, I tell them that don't work with your whole reparations idea. Whole nother story. Yeah, I can fit that shit in. We need to stop saying our children don't need to go through what we've been through. We keep preaching that as parents, but generation after generation after generations, they end up doing something that resembles. Exactly. That's the whole piece. We shelter our children, but we have to understand that suffering, trauma, pain are all necessary. This is why our ancestors, even outside of coming into contact with motherfuckers that was trying to kill them, would take individuals through a process where they would be able to experience that aspect of life. We can't grow. You can't grow in comfort. You can't grow in comfort. For me and you, Ohio State was a point of growth because we were not comfortable. We was able to find comfort in all types of fuckery. Sometimes not knowing where we was going to sleep that night. Maybe not even knowing what we was going to eat. Even though we could have called our parents, we didn't call our parents because we had developed a circle of other individuals that were suffering with us. And when I was on 0, I know somebody else might have been on 50. Right? So you develop those type of networks and you suffer together. Right? And you take care of each other. And that's what a lot of our young people miss because they don't get to get that camaraderie that will keep you away from going home. You understand? I mean, it's like, you know what I'm saying? Sometimes I be missing that aspect of what we was doing because it's like we depended on us. We depended on us. We suffered together. We cried together. We fought together. We hustled together. We grew together. And then we grew apart. We was all able to go our own different directions in life. Some did good, some did bad, but we was always able to come back and revisit those memories. And a lot of our children are not able to develop those memories because we keep them so goddamn safe that we don't allow them to break out of their own cocoon. Oh, let me help you out the cocoon, baby. Oh, baby, let me help you out the egg. Not knowing that that's weakening their wings and they'll never be able to fucking fly. Every child must learn their own lesson. Absolutely. The internet and other elements of technology have closed them off from human interaction that teaches you where you are in the circle. We never grew apart. We will never be apart. That's true. But now this is our challenge, Jack, because we don't want to become like our elders. Now, because check this out. We need to learn this lesson. How can we use the internet to help our children interact more with reality and each other? Rather than saying the internet is the devil, let's learn how to use that to motivate them to move. Because this shit right here that we on right now is a weapon. This is our weapon, our 21st century weapon that we need to learn how to use, and we need to learn how to teach our children how to use so that they can establish connections. You know what I'm saying? And that's our challenge. How do we do this? Or better yet, even with them, because they're more adept at this shit than we are. Find out how they're using it and be able to guide them and support them in that. But also being able to develop situations where they could come together and see other people doing other shit and allow them to grow. That's what we did. That's what we did with rap. That's what we did with breaking. That's what me and you did with learning. You know what I'm saying? Boom, motherfucker. See, because there's certain people in our community that realize, like, damn, nigga, you smart. I need to put you with some other smart motherfuckers. Because basically, when we came together at Ohio State, that's what we were. We had individuals in all of our communities that decided, you need to be around some other smart motherfuckers. And they made a way, and we made a way for us to get to a place where other smart motherfuckers was gathering. We got together and cheers. You know, that shit won't come out till you do your movie, right? My name better be changed in that motherfucker because I got a reputation to maintain. God damn it. Hell yeah. But it's already in progress. You know what I'm saying? So, you know what I'm saying? So a lot of times we look for outside people to blame our personal shit on, but it's us. It's us. It's us. Alright, so last one. Many days of laughter are wiped away by one moment of mourning. And that's so good, right? Mourning is an important part of life. And we even have to teach motherfuckers how to mourn. You know what I'm saying? Because mourning is a release, right? Mourning allows us to move forward. Because once I begin to mourn something, that means that I have, in a sense, released it. And oftentimes, like, you got a lot of people in our lives, or a lot of people in their personal lives that are stuck. Why? Because they're still holding on to possible fantasy and shit. You need to mourn that shit and allow all those good times to flow away and move forward. Move forward. You know what I'm saying? But if I'm chained to those things, I can't move. So mourning allows us to release. Like when people pass, we have to mourn because it's good for them. It's good for them to help them move into the ancestor realm, and it's good for you to help you move into the now. Right? But listen, I ain't gonna hold y'all up no more. That's when we do not have gratitude. Jack, you the bomb. So I'm gonna have to start having the show at 10 o'clock in order to get your ass. But listen, I'm about to get up because I'm old and I gotta pee. And nobody calling in. Me and Jack having a good time. And I ain't going to just hog up all the time. But I got to go to the bathroom. And I'm going to say, family, I want to thank you for joining us on Giami Journey Media. The place where your hustle builds muscle. I hope you got something out the show. And like I said, the conversation don't stop here. Put your comments up. Fuck hurt my feelings. Hurt my feelings. You know what I'm saying? Disagree with me. I don't give a fuck. Just think and share your thoughts because your thoughts might not be for you. They might be for somebody else in the tribe. We are all linked. All of us. Listen, I want y'all to say, when we started pouring libations and we've been doing this shit and we moving on 3 years straight, I need y'all to understand, everybody that have an ancestor on this list, we have become connected. We are not of physical blood, right? We have a spiritual blood. Now, one of the things I learned is blood is thicker than water. But as crazy as it sounds, spirit is thicker than blood. I learned that in college, actually. Blood is thicker than water. But spirit is thicker than blood. You know what I'm saying? I had some of my friends that have been through some shit with me and stuck with me. And, you know, family might just be like, nigga, you crazy. I ain't getting involved with that shit. You know what I'm saying? I could be dead wrong, but I had some motherfuckers, and even some motherfuckers now, be like, yo, I'm with you. Blood is thicker than, blood is thicker than water, but spirit is thicker than blood. You know what I'm saying? I got some spiritual brothers, shit, right now. I have a whole life built around spiritual brothers that's been looking out for me and my crazy ass antics. You know what I'm saying? Crazy. I used to be like, just, come on now. Friends are the family we choose. I am so happy that you have remained my brother all these. Damn, it's been 30 years. Let me tell you how I met Jackie. So Jackie is always late. Always. So Jackie come to Ohio State in the fucking winter quarter. And I'm like, I don't know why that's that Detroit shit. She moved, and she's sitting down in the lobby of the towers playing the piano and shit. I ain't never seen a black person play a piano outside of church. I'm like, you came to school late. You started school in the winter quarter. We had already been there, damn near a whole quarter. We was there a whole quarter for your ass. She was late. She doubting. 30 years. You are my brother in every sense of the word. Friend, listen. So we hooked up because she already had some friends up here, and she was telling us about her, and then I just ran into her and she was jamming. January, so what? It wasn't good until I came. Shit, I don't know. I was high, so I don't know how good or how, I don't know, but friends will pull you through, get you up, get your ass to class, and all that. You ain't bring no noise. The noise was already there. You assisted. You brought a little rhythm to the noise. Let's put it that way. You brought a little rhythm to the noise. Good shit. But hey, and what's sad about that? Yeah, I remember the blackout. What's sad about that is that our children may never be able to experience college in the same way that we did. They may go to college, but we came at the end of a period and the beginning of another period. Jackie, but I ain't gonna go into that. I'm about to get off of here. I'm about to go pee. We're gonna have to talk about that shit. We came at the end of one thing and the beginning of another, so we were in a sweet spot. Shit, and not saying that their way won't be as good. Let me put it this way: the way we did it, but they gonna, because we got some legendary babies. So I'm quite sure it's in them. You know what I'm saying? And we laid the foundation so they could build their foundations to greatness. And then I went to a HBCU and put the icing on my cake of wisdom. Alright. That was pretty good. You was a good writer. But yo, family, this is Brother Hatim. I'm out. These motherfuckers need to suffer the way we did. And suffering, like I said, it's, they need to know how to do that. They need to know how to do that. But shit, microwaves done fuck that shit up. Microwaves and being able to watch TV when you want. Listen, I be trying to tell my kids, I say, I'm so glad you could just throw away food the way you do. I'm so glad that you could just watch whatever. You don't even have to wait for a goddamn. I'm so glad I could afford for you to be able to do the shit that you do. You know what I'm saying? Because it wasn't always. She said they changed the towers. What? Wow. So she talking about, for those that don't know, she talking about the towers at Ohio State. When we went to Ohio State and we stayed in the towers, it would be 16 people in a suite. So I had a room with 4 people in it. So it would be 4 rooms in the suite, and in those 4 rooms, you have 4 people. So it's like an army barracks. And then the way we did it, we would have people from other places sleeping on the couches outside in the lounge. So we would have 16 to 20 people possibly staying in the suite where we were. And God forbid that anybody said anything about that, because they was going to get an ass kicking if they wanted to get in the way of that. But that's a whole nother story. You have to remember the party I gave Michelle in our townhouse, and we forgot to eat the cake and toast her. We ate the cake for a solid week, a piece or 2 per day to make it. I believe you were the one that Doug had go get the cake. It was half a sheet, man. We are the O'Brien and the DeSantis of... Damn, she said, listen, people don't stop. We got to talk. Peace.